Batman Arkham Origins, by far the most underrated game in the Arkham series. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you might have seen my previous videos on Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And it's been a while since I've uploaded those videos promising to cover the entire Arkham series. Unfortunately, looking back, I wish I would have done those videos better. Especially my video on Arkham City, since I made a lot of editing mistakes along with my terrible mic static scattered all throughout the video. And after releasing those videos and seeing them underperform, I really didn't see any reason to continue on with the rest of the series. However, after receiving several comments asking me to cover the rest of the series, but most predominantly Arkham Origins, after 3 months I finally decided to finish what I started. Unfortunately, I don't have any plans to cover Arkham Shadows as I only have a Quest 2, not a 3, but if I ever do decide to invest in a Quest 3, then you can expect a full look at Batman Arkham Shadows. And for this reason, I have avoided spoilers at all costs. So I know basically nothing outside seeing some people play that game a little bit earlier, way before it was even released. So I don't really know anything story-wise. And the Arkham series being my favorite games ever released, I do really look forward to experience the brand new Arkham story developed by Camouflage. And if Batman Arkham Origins has taught me anything, it's that Rocksteady isn't the only team capable of creating a great Batman game. So enough about that. Like I previously mentioned, Batman Arkham Origins wasn't actually developed by Rocksteady, but was actually developed by WB Games Montreal. Origins was once very controversial, but as time passed, people started to recognize that Batman Arkham Origins wasn't as bad as they once thought, even if the game didn't necessarily do anything substantially new or revolutionary like the Rocksteady trilogy. I feel like the game has been underappreciated for what it does offer. So it's about time. Let's jump straight into Batman Arkham Origins. 8 years before the events of Batman Arkham Asylum, Bruce Wayne is in his second years of being the Caped Crusader. In fact, it's so early in his career that most people don't even believe that he even exists. He's even commonly believed to be a myth created to strike fear into criminals running the streets.
Commissioner Loeb, any comment on the rumor that it wasn't actually the cops who captured Mr. Day? There is no such thing as a Batman.
It's Christmas Eve and chaos is running rampant in Gotham City. Roman Sionis, also known as Black Mask, is staging a prison break from Blackgate. It's time to suit up. We arrive at Blackgate Prison where Black Mask is taking Commissioner Loeb hostage. Making our way through the prison, we take out several of his thugs before running into the biggest thug in Gotham City, Killer Croc. Don't worry, we'll get to that fight soon. Continuing through Blackgate, we catch up to Black Mask and Croc where we learn that Loeb has actually been secretly working with Sionis. But unfortunately for Loeb, he's outlived his usefulness to Sionis, and he's left in a gas chamber to die. Lucky for us, Killer Croc got sloppy and gave us some very useful information we'll learn about later. For now, we've got a date with the Hungry Gator. Killer Croc is relatively easy to dodge and stun. He'll pick up these flammable gas canisters which you can ignite in his hands by throwing batarangs. This does significant damage, but you can also stun Croc and perform a beatdown. After draining his health bar, Batman brutally beats Croc to get information.
The boss of me is me. I want teeth. I want answers.
And learns that Black Mask has enlisted the help of several highly trained assassins to kill the Batman. As Captain Gordon and the GCPD force believe they've backed Batman into a corner, he has no choice but to show them just how wrong they are.
No such thing as a Batman, huh?
Back at the Batcave, we recover some data on the memory card Croc sloppily left behind for us to find, and one by one learn about all 8 of the assassins targeting the Batman for a $50 million bounty. Killer Croc, Firefly, Copperhead, Deathstroke, Electrocutioner, Shiva, Bane, and Deadshot. Some of these we see in future games, by the way, like Croc, Bane, Deadshot, and Firefly. Spoiler warning in case you care. We actually see Batman talk about his fight with Firefly during this game, 10 years later in Batman Arkham Knight. Anyway, after determining that the Penguin was behind this tech, Batman decides it's time to pay him a visit. But before we do that, it seems something is jamming Batman's navigational system. Now, this is the first game where we can actually glide across part of Gotham City, but in my opinion, Knight ultimately does this better. To me, Origins map just feels like a slightly altered Arkham City's map to fit with the Gotham aesthetic. Reaching the top of the jammed radio tower, we get introduced to a brand new mechanic that can set up a crime scene and deduce exactly what happened. And we learn that a new, but well-known adversary for Batman, Edward Nygma, is the mastermind behind this. The Riddler isn't really important in the story of the game outside of a few required missions to progress in the beginning, acting as a introduction to his side missions, which is actually a recurring theme in the Arkham games. While searching for the Penguin, we run into some of his goons like Loose Lips here.
Where's Cobblepot? Let me go! If you insist.
Yikes, Batman. He's definitely more brutal in his earlier years. Nonetheless, Penguin unknowingly gives up his own location. Unfortunately, he didn't make it that easy for us. We have to track down several transmitters to triangulate Penguin's location aboard a boat. After beating Penguin's thugs senseless and making our way through the boat, we run into one of our first assassins, the Electrocutioner. Yeah, that went about as well as I expected. After interrogating one of Penguin's men, we learned that he's actually held up in his office, which we're able to reach with relative ease. And the Penguin is torching Alberto Falcone.
Andy.
You suggested little Alberto over here. Hey, baby.
Of course, Oswald and his thugs were no match for the Batman, and he makes sure Oswald knows this.
You're running out of time. Wait. Lacey Towers. There was a murder.
Deathstroke finally makes his appearance. This boss fight is regarded as one of the best in the series, and man, are they absolutely right. I find this boss fight a little similar to the Raw's boss fight in City, mainly this particular sequence that happens a few times throughout the fight. After finally defeating Slade Wilson, we actually took one of his tools called the Remote Claw, one of my absolute favorite tools in all of the Arkham games. Before we can get back to the Penguin in his office, we learn that there has been a murder at Lacey Towers, and Black Mask has reportedly been the victim. Batman sets up a lengthy crime scene when we finally learn about the name
The Joker.
Turns out to figure out exactly what had happened, we need to break into the GCPD. Before doing that, Alfred recommends picking up the concussive grenade from the Batcave to deal with the cops. Sneaking past the GCPD officers, it seems as though Black Mask also has a lot of GCPD officers under his thumb. This gives us free reign to deal with them. Inside the interrogation room, we get reunited with Batman's favorite thug, Loose Lips.
How about we take a little walk up to the roof?
Unfortunately for them, the cops realized I'm in the building. But of course, this didn't slow us down. When trying to break into the server room, it turns out Loose Lips' disruptor is exactly what we need. Unfortunately for us, that requires us to move through the GCPD underground to gain access to the evidence lockup. After grabbing the disruptor from the lockup, we head back up to the server room where we meet a future friend.
I need access to the National Criminal Database.
It's right here.
Turns out we need to gain access to the sewers to continue.
I don't want to hurt you, but you need to stay out of my way.
But before that, we run into Gordon.
Listen, I'm on your side.
With that dealt with, we head down into the sewers where Black Mask thugs have set up bombs inside the GCPD's telecom room. And we finally learn exactly what happened inside of Lacey Towers.
Someone spooked Sionis' girlfriend, so he sent her to his safe house, which was anything but safe. Sionis showed up later, ready for trouble, and found it. Or so it seemed. Roman's always been paranoid. That's probably why he's lasted this long. He'd sent in a decoy, giving himself the element of surprise, but it wasn't enough. There was a fight. Sionis lost. The killer didn't hesitate to shoot the decoy, but he wanted Roman alive to access the cash stored at the Gotham Merchants Bank.
Inside the bank, something interesting happens.
It's been you this whole time.
After interrogating one of Joker's men, we learn that the Joker has taken over Sionis' steel mill, and we also learn that it was actually the Joker that hired the assassin. After infiltrating the steel mill, which looks an awful lot like Joker's steel mill in Arkham City, inside we find Black Mask held captive by armed guards. However, before we can get answers out of him, another assassin makes an attempt on our life. Unfortunately for us, she's almost successful and poisons us. We were able to create an antidote which Alfred prepares as we slowly and painfully make our way out of the steel mill. Before we can reach the outside, Copperhead tries to take us out before we can get the antidote. This boss battle is pretty easy, just take down the waves of Copperhead clones until her health bar gets low. That's when the antidote finally arrives, and after that, Batman defeats her extremely easily. Batman deduces that following the Electrocutioner's signal will lead him straight to the Joker. And this happened. Yeah, not too sure what's going on here, to be honest. We track the signal all the way to a hotel where we find the assassins all grouped together. But
I didn't think so.
well, That's one less assassin to worry about, I guess. And now we have access to my absolute favorite feature, the shock gloves. Now it's time to make our way up to the Joker. After taking out all of the Joker's men, we find an elevator to a penthouse. But unfortunately...
Nice of you to drop in. And just in time.
It's time for the first boss fight against Bane. It's as easy as attacking and dodging for the first half until Bane reveals his venom. Now we have to stun him before he can finish attacking, and then perform a beatdown into a takedown. But before we're able to finish the fight, Bane throws us out of a window, entering the third phase of the fight. This one's pretty similar, except we also have to deal with the Joker's men. After draining his health bar to 0, backup finally arrives. Bane escapes and tries to kill the Joker while he's at it, but Batman being Batman saves him. The cops intervene before the Joker can kill himself, but they also try to kill Batman. Not too surprised there, to be honest. While the Joker's being analyzed by Harley at Blackgate, we get a section playing as the Joker fighting a bunch of thugs. And then we get an interesting sequence playing as the Red Hood. Arriving back at the Batcave, Batman seems to have an hallucination of the moment his parents were killed. After coming back to his senses, Batman basically disregards Alfred, a decision he will soon come to resent. Well, more on that later. For now, we grab the glue grenade and head for the GCPD, where Bane's body is supposedly lying in the morgue.
You're in over your head, and I
Don't want this to be your end.
Alfred, who do you see when you look at me? The boy whose shoes you used to tie every morning? The teenager you drove to his first date? While you are here every night, I am out there. The only thing between the innocent and the predator. No, not may be. I am. When the mugger or the thief stops to think twice, that is fear. That is what I am. That is why they hired assassins, because I am the reason the criminals breathe easier when the sun rises. So no, Alfred, I am not in over my head. Tonight will not be my end, but it will be theirs.
As you might have figured, it's not actually Bane. With that figured out, we follow Batman's tracker that he placed on Bane before he escaped all the way to Bane's hideout. And it turns out, Bane found it. Batman learns that Bane knows his true identity and rushes back to the Batcave before Bane finds Alfred. Except as it turns out, Firefly is attacking Gotham Bridge, and now Batman must choose between innocent civilians and Alfred. Batman decides to go after Firefly, hoping Bane might not find the Batcave. Firefly set up bombs all along the bridge, setting a trap for both Batman and the GCPD. After warning Gordon about the bombs, we track down each one, and in the process, we find Brandon, the corrupt GCPD SWAT captain or something like that, but the selfish prick decides to attack me instead. After defusing almost all the bombs, we confront Firefly on the bridge. This boss fight is pretty easy, just a little bit annoying. You have to stick Firefly with a glue grenade and spam him with batarangs. You repeat this cycle until you can grab him with your bat claw and pull him in to punch him. Firefly gets his hands on the detonator, but it seems as though Gordon was able to defuse the final bomb just in time. The fight continues as we maneuver along the bridge, dodging his relentless flamethrower attacks. After reaching a safer part of the bridge, we continue the barrage of glue grenades and batarangs until we're able to pull him in for the second time. And finally, we grapple onto Firefly, and by pulling him down, Batman manages to beat him onto the bridge. On the way back to the Batcave, something not so unexpected happens.
I am in your house. Bruce Wayne, come home. Say your goodbyes. Once you've had time to turn grief into anger, then you'll be ready to face me. I have left enough life in him for some final words. If you hurry. Alfred!
We find Alfred deep in the Batcave, buried in rubble, and he dies. We save Alfred, but Batman deals with doubt and regret. But Alfred breathes new life into the Batman and teaches him that he is not alone.
Stop them.
No, you can't. Not on your own. But it's high time you realize that you are a man, not an island. And a man's Strength comes not from just brawn and intelligence, but also from his allies.
And with that, we learn that the Joker has staged a takeover at Blackgate, where the final showdown will commence. We make our way into Blackgate via the underground. Inside, we find Deathstroke, which the Joker has refused to release, and honestly, that was probably the best choice for him. We finally reach the Joker, who has Warden Joseph hostage, but he's not who we will be fighting. Instead, we're left with an interesting choice. Bane has implanted himself with a heart monitor, so Batman has to kill Bane, or the heart monitor will fully charge the electric chair, killing the Joker. So what exactly does the final boss entail? By far, this is my favorite final boss in any Arkham game. You have to dodge Bane as he's constantly charging at you, and all the while fighting the Joker's men. After Bane stops moving, we have a chance to stun him. After doing this a few times, Gordon shows up and manages to become a hostage immediately. And the Joker puts the electric headgear on him as well, using this to motivate Batman to kill Bane even further. We continue the same attacks on Bane until his health reaches almost zero, where Batman kills him. And the Joker tries to shoot Warden Joseph, but the Joker leaves, and we learn that Batman didn't kill Bane. After reviving Bane, he injects himself with some sort of mutated venom, making him an unstoppable monster. Now we're trapped underground with the terrifying creature, and our only chance of fighting him is by using our environment to our advantage, using floor grates, vents, and silent takedowns to deal damage. Just when we think we've finished off Bane,
It's over, Alfred. I've defeated Bane.
Master Bruce, are you all right?
I'm getting a sense of deja vu. Not gonna lie, that was hard. Bro did not flinch a muscle. Okay, this time we've actually defeated Bane. With Bane out of the picture, Batman and Gordon rush to the chapel where Joker is waiting. As we beat the Joker senseless, actually, that's it. We beat the ever-living life out of the Joker. I don't know how he's still conscious. He just keeps on going.
We both exist because of them!
Give up! You've lost!
You do it, isn't it? You like the way it feels. It's what you need. Come on, baby. Beat me till your knuckles bleed. Why quit there? You know there's only one way to stop me.
Any one of my guys would have killed him. The city deserves better than that. You know, my daughter thinks you're a hero. But I still have to bring you in.
Damn, Gordon. That's it. That's Batman Arkham Origins. Wait, you didn't think I was just gonna forget about the DLC, did you? Well, fair enough. I did completely skip Harley Quinn's Revenge in Arkham City, which I really wish I didn't do because I really love that DLC, but I guess it's a little too late for that. Now, with that being said, it's time for the Cold Cold Heart DLC. Yup, that's right. It's time for the origin of Victor Freeze, one of my favorite anti-heroes in the Batman universe. It begins with Boyle Ferris receiving the Humanitarian Award. This is found to be very ironic later on, but it's too early for that. Mr. Freeze attacks the award ceremony inside Wayne Manor, and Bruce is forced to attack Freeze's thugs without his suit, but he makes short work of them nonetheless. We find our way down into the Batcave where we learn that Batman actually has a prototype suit that will come in handy later on. After suiting up, we make our way back into Wayne Manor where we find it in flames and Alfred has been taken hostage. Turns out Mr. Freeze Freeze has kidnapped Boyle, and Batman learns that Penguin might be behind this weaponry. After reaching Penguin's dealer's location, we find a body instead, and several bodies encased in ice. We set up a crime scene to find out exactly what happened, and unfortunately for them, the cryo gun they used left us a nice trail to follow all the way to the dealer, who tells us GothCorp is responsible for the weapons. Inside GothCorp, it seems as though the Penguin and Mr. Freeze are working together. This doesn't last long, however, as the Penguin turns on Freeze almost immediately, which proves to be the wrong decision. However, Freeze blocks us off with a massive ice wall, and the only way to get past it is by using something called the cryogenic drill. As it turns out, Alfred has finished the XE suit, allowing Batman to not only handle colder temperatures, but it also has the ability to produce heat. Not only that, but we also gain access to a thermocharged batarang. Inside the My Alibi building, we find Batman's favorite thug, Loose Lips.
You stole a cryogenic drill from GothCorp.
Well, yeah, but it ain't here. Penguin said to sell off the parts. It's in pieces.
Where are they?
I'll tell you. Just don't drop me off a roof, okay?
Maybe next time.
We track down each of the drill pieces across the rooftops of Gotham, and with the drill back into one piece, we head back to GothCorp. Inside, we set up a crime scene to learn the origin story of how Victor Freeze became how he is today.
Doing research on Huntington's Korea, but this is a cryogenic weapons lab. The test subject was Nora Freeze. Now I know what happened here. Boyle hired Victor to help advance the secret cryoweapons program within GothCorp. In exchange, Boyle agreed to devote GothCorp resources to finding a cure for Nora's Huntington's. But Boyle was more interested in how Victor had managed to put Nora into cryostasis. When Victor realized that Boyle had no intention of following through on their deal, he decided to do the Huntington's research himself. But Boyle didn't like that. The cryochemical cocktail altered Victor's metabolism, as well as the guards. Boyle escaped ahead of the plume and had the lab quarantined. Victor survived, but he knew that leaving the supercooled lab would kill him. So he built himself a suit and utilized an organic supercoolant to keep his core temperature sub-zero.
We make our way to where the Penguin is trapped in the ice wall and use the drill to confront Freeze in the next room. This boss fight, I'm gonna be completely honest, kinda pissed me off. Now, I'm not saying it's bad because beside the Bane boss fight, this is by far the most unique boss fight of any Arkham game. It was just a huge pain to actually finish. The first part of the fight consists of shutting down 3 cryogenic reactors, but before shutting them down, there can't be any thugs near you, and Freeze also has to be facing a different direction. Otherwise, they will just interrupt you before you can finish. Freeze will search the room for you from up top his platform, and not only alert the guards to your location, but will also use his gun to encase you in ice. After you're able to shut down all of the reactors, Freeze will leave his platform and begin moving around the room searching for you. Just like Arkham City, you have to use your tools and environment to deal damage, like vent takedowns, ice wall takedowns, and most importantly, using the thermocharged batarangs to drop giant shards of ice on top of him at just the right time. After dealing enough damage to him, Nora's cryopod will become unstable and he becomes distracted. Batman takes this opportunity and attacks him from below. After this, Boyle traps Batman in ice and shows his true nature.
And here I thought I was going to have a problem explaining what happened in your lab. I mean, the police are never going to look at me after what you did. And with this bat freak dead, there won't be anyone left to say otherwise.
Cryogenic containment failing.
And that just leaves you.
Please, you can save her. You just have to bypass the cryocopter.
Victor! She's died! I'll keep you alive long enough to see her go! Go!
And that concludes the Cold Heart DLC. Not the longest DLC ever, but it's no longer than Harley Quinn's Revenge, so I really can't complain. I hope you have all enjoyed today's video, and I truly hope I did this game justice, because man, I really didn't know just how much I love this game until I finally got to replay it again. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Also make sure to use code GOLDEN on your Rogue Energy order at checkout. The link will be in the description. With that being said, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.